Secretary, you met with your Indian counterpart here as well. India has declared that the explosion in Delhi on Monday was a terrorist incident. How concerned are you about rising tensions between India and Pakistan, given the antecedent of the tension and the fighting?
Yeah, I mean, we're aware. We're aware of the potential that holds. But I think the Indians need to be commended. They've been very measured and cautious and very professional in how they're carrying out this investigation. That investigation continues. It clearly was a terrorist attack, and it was a car loaded with highly explosive materials that detonated and killed a lot of people. But I think they're doing a very good job of carrying out an investigation, and I think when they have facts, they'll release those facts. So, but clearly, I mean, we're aware of the potential that it has, and so we spoke about that a little bit today, the potential that it has to become something broader. But I think we're going to await to see what their investigation reveals. We've offered to help, but I think they're very capable in these investigations. They don't need our help, and they're doing a good job. And I thought they were very measured and professional in how they've approached it, as they usually are.
You mentioned China and fentanyl. This working group that the Treasury Secretary has talked about setting up, measuring China's progress on cracking down on fentanyl flows. Is there a timeline for when that will be established? Do you know?
I don't know. You'll have to ask the. I mean, that's part. Since it's part of the trade agreement, it will largely involve Treasury and probably elements of law enforcement as well. But you know, the FBI director traveled to China a few days ago, had very positive meetings, and from everything we've seen and heard so far, it appears that Chinese have a real interest in scheduling these substances. These precursor chemicals have legitimate uses, but when you combine them all together, they create fentanyl, which is not legitimate. And so everything we've seen from them is that they're serious about doing it, and in return, you know, the president cut in half the fentanyl tariffs. So we expect both sides to comply with their end of the bargain, and so far everything we've seen indicates that they intend to.
On the Middle East, can you talk about
the stabilization force? Is there any further progress on the?
We have a new draft, I think, that's being worked on now. We feel optimistic that it's going to happen. It needs to be done the right way, and obviously there's a lot of different countries. You have to balance their interests here and how that's structured beyond just the security force. So I think we're making good progress on the language of the resolution, and hopefully we'll have action on it very soon. We don't want to lose momentum on this.
What should its role be? Do you foresee it as potentially a fighting force, that it may have to be involved in raids against Hamas remnants or militants?
Well, it shouldn't be a fighting force, but I mean, it shouldn't have to be, because the agreement that was signed and that all parties agreed to calls for the demilitarization of Hamas. So, but I think the question is, who's going to be standing on that line and beyond it to provide security? Because you're going to need security if you want to really flood Gaza, particularly in that red area that's not in Israeli control. If you really want to see a huge uptick, not just in humanitarian assistance, but redevelopment, you're going to need to have security. And that can't be Hamas. So there'll have to be a force that provides just basic everyday security. That's, as much as anything else, what the stabilization force's role is to stabilize. As far as demilitarization is concerned, that's a commitment Hamas made. That's a commitment all of our partners on this deal made. And we expect those countries, and they will at the appropriate time, including now, bring about pressure, on Hamas to live up to that commitment.